Hello and welcome back to Leeds United. January transfer window complete. Not a lot happened. There was one player on my radar who was looking to be going for a budget price, so I had to try and facilitate that as best I could. That player isn't Brendan Harrison, but Brendan Harrison was the one to make way. He's not been sold, he's just out on loan at Espanyol. I figured it actually might be worthwhile getting him some game time somewhere, because he wasn't getting it really here. He also wasn't even registered for the Conference League. And that was to acquire Zoboszlai. Yep, he's back. 16 corners, 16 free kick taking, 16 penalty taking, 16 technique, 16 flair. Good enough physicals. Natural fitness I'm not keen on, but we're not going to be here to see him in his old age. Mentals are competent too. He's actually originally from MTK Budapest, of course, who is now an affiliate as well. So, went the long way around. Apparently broke the Hungarian transfer record, despite the fact that Leipzig paid more money for him than we did. Apparently World Records forgot that transfer. Oh, and Ola went on loan, and he will be permanently gone if he plays 10 games for them. January didn't go spectacularly, although we can sort of say our bad form coincided with a injury to Meslier. Can't blame that one on the Middlesbrough loss in the FA Cup, although I also don't care. Less games to play in the second half, thank you very much. But he was injured for the Brentford loss, the Arsenal loss, and the Manchester City loss. You know, just a few teams that aren't going to capitalise on the fact that we've got a backup goalkeeper in goal. Bournemouth didn't register a shot on target, which is how he's got away unscathed in that one. Milovanovic scoring in that one, twice against City, twice against Brentford, once against Manchester United, where we scored in the 94th minute and they equalised in the 97th. Fergie times back, 3-3. I thought I'd won it. Dominic did score a worldie on his debut though. And yeah, the worst part of the Arsenal loss is the fact they were down to 10 men and then scored twice. Still 7th though, despite the fact we lost to the team in 8th, which is Brentford. And yes, you may have noticed Ivan Toney scored the winner in that game for them via penalty, of course, because he never misses those. I'll be missing a certain amount of game time in the near future though. Naughty, naughty boy. And yeah, Haaland's continued to score as well. Because there's not a lot of transfers, we will be doing both games, both the Aston Villa game and the Burnley game. I don't know why they hate playing with each other again now. Although, major news, 2 teams offered Pascal Struijk end of contract deals and he rejected them both. He's now got over the fact that he's not been sold and is willing to renew his contract, which is the best news possible because he is homegrown club. As much as he's not as good as he was in last year's game, he is still a homegrown club and will be very, very important to keep him around as long as possible. Also, my players just keep getting injured, and about 3 or 4 players were in some kind of January tournament. There was the young South American, so I think it's that under-21 South American tournament, but that pops up every now and then. Santos seems to be okay, so they must have been knocked out relatively early, or we just didn't play a game. But Almada is tired, so it looks like Argentina did well. But because half my players on my bench are still returning to fitness because they've just all had minor injuries, including Asprilla as well. It's been a rough old time. I've got 2 central defenders on that bench. Let's resolve that one, shall we? Asprilla for one of them, thank you very much. Phillips weirdly rejected a loan deal, despite the fact he wants to leave. Asking to leave, rejects a deal. That gets him to leave. Make it make sense. But the rest of that team, that first 11 look okay. I mean, a lot of them on heavy workloads, but they actually have had some time off now. Can I have someone that isn't Jack Harrison up front now as well? Is that something I can do? Pedro's not really back. Bamford is, though. I nearly missed that. Hallelujah. But Milovanovic missed out on Player of the Month, despite scoring 8 in January, to Gabriel Jesus, who scored 5 goals in January, so work that one out. I do love the fact it's saying bad run of form. We've lost 2 games in a row to Arsenal and Chelsea. We're still 7th. And genuinely, the Arsenal team, and genuinely this Aston Villa team, is unchanged in 18 months. How have they managed that? Every single player in their first 11 today is already an Aston Villa player. That's remarkable, in FM in particular. So is the manager, to be fair, and he's technically set. Whenever say their stars now, he won't be because I'm still on the version of FM that still had Gerrard in charge. Oh, that was a lovely heavy touch by Christensen there for them to get the ball. Fix it, SI. Fix it. Rocker. Strike. Satalo. Where are we going, Josip? He got mad because he didn't play enough games recently. I just genuinely forgot to put him back in after he was injured or tired. Like, he missed 1 game through rotation and then I just forgot to put him back in for the next 2. Satalo gets to the end of that. Rocker, so he got upset. Rocker. Milovanovic is, I need to through there, but Sinisterra's got an angle, maybe. It's a free kick. Where was the highlight? Why did he waste our time with that nonsense? Right then, a nice, lovely encourage. I mean, at least that was an attempt to get to Bamford. It wasn't a completely aimless pass that was intercepted. Ndicka, Meslier, Strike. At least he hasn't hoofed it. Ndicka, Rocker. Well, I was about to say under pressure, but he's released Bamford quite nicely. Bamford's got a shot on here that has deflected off Diego Carlos. It's counting as a Bamford goal because it was still going in. It was still on target regardless. It wasn't going in. Martinez had that side covered. But yeah. I mean, we'll take the luck, quite frankly. We'll take the luck where we can get it due to the horrific match engine that punishes you every 30 seconds. We'll take a freak goal where we can get one, frankly. One of the Middlesbrough goals was a hoof over the top. Yeah. The assist was Pavlenka, the goalkeeper, because my defenders went ball watching. They got the binoculars out and let our former striker, Tyler Roberts, through on goal, unchallenged, which is a totally natural thing to do from an opponent goal kick. I do not know how that can get through QA testing. It is unfathomable to me, quite frankly. Especially as an issue at the beginning of last year's game. It's like, how do you not make notes? But we're still winning this one 1-0 for now. At 1-0, a team that we should be beating, particularly at home. I never know what the shout is at 1-0. Like 2-0 is easy, it's praise. 0-0, like a draw or losing, it's encourage or demand more or berate, depending how bad it is. But 1-0 up, not a clue. That's deflected, and Dicker's under it. He's sort of headed it vaguely aimlessly out to Chambers again. Plattenhart's intercepted that, though. And Dicker, Rocker, Milovanovic does have the play of this side for the time being. Sensibly back to Plattenhart, who's dived into the box. Would have been better if he'd squared it somehow. But there wasn't anyone to square it to. I just realised Spurs are actually not doing particularly well anymore. They're mid-table. I did get a question about Pochettino's position at Spurs. Now I understand why. Sanson. That's so easy for Coutinho. Thankfully saved. Yeah, Manchester City had 7 shots on target. We let 5 of them in. Oh, Bailey. I mean, it's just not a penalty, is it? Strike's clearly got that ball, and Watkins has fallen over the ball that Striker's got. But I suspect it's actually a penalty, and that was just woeful animation. Yeah, penalty awarded. I wish we stopped giving away penalties. Coutinho steps up. Melee saves. Oh, well, at least he's fixed the match engine for us, in a way. Don't give another one now. Jesus Christ, that would have been hilarious. Oh, for flip's sake. Sanson's first goal of the season. His first ever Aston Villa goal, apparently. Somehow. I'm not going crazy. Morgan Sanson is an Aston Villa player in real life, right? They did acquire him in real life. He's just gone 18 months in the game without scoring. Maybe longer, depending on when he was signed. Oh, don't you bloody dare, Coutinho. Let me encourage my team first before you ruin our day. If Callum Chambers has scored a worldie there, I will be putting it on the forum. Right, some intensely tired players are going to come off. Fortunately, Plattenhart's one of those, as is Bamford. Both Dominic and Adams have good left feet, but I think Dominic's is one stage higher. So he'll go on the left for the remainder of this match, and it's 1-1. Nope, there's a highlight. That's going to ruin my day. It is somewhat depressing how patently obvious this is. The game has been out, officially, less than 2 weeks, if our maths is correct. And it's depressing how already I can read it. And now we're not 7th. Haaland's player of the week again. In fact, I don't need to rest them. We don't play Burnley for 10 days. Lovely. Pascal Strike tied down for 4 more years. And also without any of the nonsense fees and bonuses that are in all the contracts to begin with for some reason. Do I still have anyone that's still on an original contract? Players like Adams will be. Not got any of those anymore. So look forward to renegotiating Tyler Adams at some point, but the fact he's on 60 grand a week means I'm hesitant to do that in the first place. The sooner we either A, get rid of these players, or B, renegotiate their contracts, the better. You know what I have just realised on the approach to this Burnley game is, out of the big 6, we've only got Spurs away, and Spurs aren't having a fantastic time of things, and Liverpool away, and that's it. Oh, Man United. I always miss them because they haven't got a badge. And Man United. Right then, so to play Burnley's melee and go, and Dicker strikes Italo, the main back 4. Plattenhart has actually emerged as the better of the 2 left backs. Livramento, not really much between him and Christensen, but I'd rather have the person who can develop in there. Szoboszlai and Adams, the former Leipzig teammates, line up in the middle. Bamford, Milovanovic and Pedro in that order, because Pedro is actually a fairly solid pressing forward as well. And Milovanovic isn't really that aggressive, which I feel like is a good trait to have. He's not that fast either, which Pedro has a slight edge on. I actually thought Pedro was faster. But also, much like last year, I do suspect putting the big man in the middle might be beneficial, because when we had 3-0 up last year that nearly just went straight over our entire defence, just Vincent Kompany finding the Burnley way, apparently. But last year when we had the 6'8" man in the middle, that did seem to produce the best results. So, whilst he's not 6'8", 6'5" of Milovanovic has controlled the ball well, but it's gone back out to Livramento for the time being. Actually playing in our home kit away from home for what feels like a rarity, and Dominic only scores bangers. I don't think I've really seen our away kit. We play in a white kit and a black kit quite often, but the actual away kit, barely see it. Sitalo lays it off to Szoboszlai. Sitalo went a bit of roaming there, but bam! Good lord, Szoboszlai. Plan on to put this corner in. It's gone in. It's Evan and Dicker. it just sort of hung in the air for ages. I thought it had missed for a moment, which is why I was kind of muted in that response. But Marvin Plattenhardt finding Evan Undicka perfectly. Oh, I mean, the goalkeeper's not exactly covered himself in glory there, just fell over. But that's what that corner technique's meant to be doing. And I have literally just the game before last remembered to change who's receiving the corners, because it was the left pressing forward, and Bamford's been injured for a while, and he was the only striker who was vaguely competent at that, apart from Milovanovic himself, of course. Yeah, it's now having the defenders on the near post who do have 16 jumping reach plus, well, very muted half-time team talk that. I do notice the central defender in the middle tends to come out the worst when it comes to ratings, unless they score a corner of their own or whatever. But I do find out of the three, it is the central defender that doesn't get the best ratings. Pedro's actually controlled that weirdly well. I think it was almost meant to be a mistake, but it just played out accidentally well. Plattenhardt, Szoboszlai. We'll find Adams. Under a bit of pressure, they are pressing relatively well here. Back to strike. Going all the way back to the goalkeeper. Has indeed. Yep. Melee's just hoofed it through the middle of him. Milovanovic is on the... What's going on here? What happened there? He's missed it. Was the worst part of that. It was onside. I think Milovanovic left it because he was offside. And they just ended up with Bamford getting on the end of it and then missing it. Pedro, though, is in. And that was nearly filth. We came off the crossbar, in fact. Plattenhardt back out to Szoboszlai. It's not over yet. Plattenhardt to put it in the box. Where are you going, Marvin? That's Evan Undicka, mate. Oh, 2-0, I can praise. And they'll like that. Nearly 75 minutes on the clock. If I want to make changes, this is the time to do it. Spreer on, sure, why not? Pedro. Szoboszlai was just returning to fitness, so we'll just take him off for Almada. I'll also do Tyler Adams while we're at it, actually, as well. Rocker. Livermento's not had a great one. Christensen. We'll just save the remaining one in case there's any injuries. Burnley bought more pay. I forgot Everton got relegated. I was about to ask who's Everton got up front, because they don't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin either, but I guess they've got a championship level striker then. Jack Harrison is actually now a 2.5-star pressing forward, by the way, so on he comes for Bamford. Almost had to refresh myself. Had to remind myself who was coming off there for a second. Rocker and Dicker. Where are we going? Milovanovic? Not quite. About to praise the lads, but if this goes 2-1, they're not going to enjoy the praise, so Milovanovic. I did have to deregister Van den Boomen to get Szoboszlai into the conference. He actually didn't mind. It was the two people who already weren't in the registration spots that got annoyed again. You know, the youngsters Asprilla and Kovacevic. Lovely, simple 2-0 win. I won a goal on a set piece. Much prefer the goals from, full open play, but sure, I guess just having that margin made us that little bit more comfortable. But we do have now played one more game than Brentford behind us, though. Does concern me, but our run-in is, in theory, that little bit calmer than others, so fingers crossed. Like I say, with 12 games to go, there's only 3 top 6 games to do. The other 9 should all be winnable. If we don't win them, then that's on us. So as we enter the race again, apparently, it's worth noting, of course, if we win the Conference League, that's another way to Europe. Speaking of, we still haven't had a draw for the Conference League, because I guess we've dodged the first knockout round by winning the group, so they've not drawn that yet. But I'll probably actually bring you Spurs in the second leg, depending on who it is. A bit of disappointment, a bit of joy. It's nice when things do pan out, and Dominic scored another worldie, so whilst you missed the first one, he provides you a repeat viewing. If you've enjoyed this episode, if you've enjoyed that singular transfer, do give it a like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal by now. Until next time, ta-ra.